Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the micro movements of Bitcoin. We'll be taking a look at the hourly chart this morning, and we'll be taking a look at the macro view of Bitcoin this afternoon. So we're only going to be talking about what small movements have been happening in BTC this morning. And as I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be able to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, you're missing a trick. Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's start things off by taking a look at the chart with all the thumbnails on it, just to kind of keep everyone in the loop as to what is going on. So recently we've been talking about a need to come down towards $28,000 and well, we can see that we kind of did this, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. So this video here, this one went out on the 18th of April, and we're talking about a potential trend move to the downside. Now essentially what we're talking about in this particular video is a move down to $28,000, hence the thumbnail here on the title saying $28,000. Now we did invalidate the structure that I was mapping, which was a 5-wave structure, but it didn't invalidate the idea of going down to $28,000. It just invalidates the way that we're going down to $28,000. Unfortunately, there was a lot of negativity around this particular video and people not fully understanding what it is that I'm doing here on these videos. And unfortunately, I am going to have to go back to a lot of those comments and kind of, have my say. Anyway, nonetheless, we had put this video out yesterday, which again was reinforcing the idea that we are moving down to $28,000. And we can see that the thumbnail does say 40K next. That's because things are lining up on a macro level, and this particular video covers both the micro and the macro, and it still looks like there is a potential move up higher. 40K, I say in this video, is very unlikely. I don't think we're going to be pushing up into those ranges, but it is and something that is getting talked about and something that we need to consider. With all this being said and done, there are some interesting developments today, and we're going to dive into those to see whether or not the thought pattern has changed with an idea of going up higher than the local high at the moment. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start taking a look at those micro movements over here using Elliott wave theory to start with. Okay, so following on from what we saw yesterday, we were up here, right? We had this initial kind of move to the downside, which was great, liquidating all those longs that were going up, and of course, kind of really helping us kind of anchor in a new structure. Now, the interesting thing with this particular structure that has emerged is over here on the left-hand side, we have ourselves a zigzag pattern of 535. Okay, then we moved up, preventing us from having the 53535. So it's just a zigzag. Now we obviously are having a look at this C-wave structure, and it is coming down in a very impulsive structure. Okay, so we can see right in here, we have ourselves a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 structure, like so. And it's possible that this fifth wave is actually overextending a little bit deeper. It's also possible that there's some kind of micro movement in here that I just can't see on this hourly chart. Okay, I'm not going to bore you guys by going down into the 5-minute chart or the 1-minute chart, just trying to plot that out. We'll leave it here for now and see how this kind of progresses. The interesting thing is that we do have a structure here that now looks like it is going down in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and still got to have that final fifth wave movement. So it does look like we are heading down towards our target. Okay, we've already hit the main area. Okay, so the 1-to-1's been hit, and the 1.236 is a slight further in extension to this, 28,188. Okay, so we have come down. Our low currently sits down here at $28,520 to the penny. Binance loves everything to the penny, and we can see that right in there. So we've hit the target. We don't have to come down lower, but the structure here does indicate that there's a potential for that. The other way of looking at this is it's already done, and confirmation of that would only really happen if we start to push up higher than our wave 1 situation over here. Let me actually go ahead and clear out some of these other lines for now. We don't need all of these on here. We'll just keep this one. 29,945, right? That's our little wave 1. Moving up higher than that would basically create an invalidation to say that we can't come down on this structure. Okay, we can still come down, just can't come down in the structure that I'm talking about here into these lows. Okay, so understanding Elliott wave theory is critically important in my humble opinion. It is something that is tracking the psychology of people behind the movements. Now, applying Elliott wave theory is hard. It's not easy to do. And one of the things that we need to understand here theory is that Elliott-Wave theory has a structure to explain every scenario. The only issues when it comes to applying Elliott-Wave theory is the analyst, okay? Analyst doesn't always necessarily see everything that it should be seeing. Sometimes they miss things, and sometimes their narrative, their own personal opinions, leak into the charts and prevent them from actually charting what's going on, okay? So it's really difficult to actually apply, but the principles are actually very logical, and they're very binary. It's very true, false, if this, then that, right? And that's why I like Elliott-Wave theory. It's very, very good at basically just being very factual and basically just following the data as the data is. The hardest part is applying it, because the analysts are obviously human, and it's really difficult to kind of apply that and also make sure that you're following the rules as they were written. That being said, if you can, I think it pays dividends time and time again. In fact, in our Discord server for our Patreon members, I think our hit rate is high 60s, high 70s when it comes to Elliott-Wave theory. So there's a lot to kind of speak for it, and I know there's a lot of comments in there as well in all the videos kind of saying that Elliott-Wave theory doesn't work. Elliott-Wave theory does work, it's just the only issue being the analyst behind it. So as long as I've kind of understood everything that's going on with all the different kind of rules with Elliott-Wave theory, we have a high probability of a move into these lows around that 28,188, completing this 5-wave structure. Now, the thing that I am curious about here is there's other possibilities of things that can unfold when we finish this. There is the idea that maybe this is not a zigzag pattern, and maybe I just or maybe, in fact, we're not looking at this through the correct time horizon. And what I mean by that is we're so early in a stage of development of a particular structure that we can't quite see exactly what it is yet. There are several possibilities here for Elliott-Wave theory to track us down in a very, very, very powerful downward movement. And let me just kind of explain what this could be. Okay, so we have here a 5-wave movement to the downside. We had this move up, and then we have this potential 5-wave move to the downside, right? If I measure the distance here using the fibs, in fact, I'm going to delete that one so it's not in the way. Move this over to our bounce over here. We can see that a 1.618 happens to coincide with this potential 5th wave movement to the downside, 28,177. Now that's important because maybe this is not a zigzag, and maybe what we're doing here is we're nesting in our structures. So we have, for example, a wave 1, a wave 2, all of that being a wave 3. We come up for a wave 4, and then we go down into a wave 5. Then that opens the door for another potential move over here. Okay, so we can see this is a potential maybe wave 1, wave 2, all of this is a wave 3, then up for a wave 4, then down to another wave 5. And you can see how these things are nesting together. So although a potential double zigzag at the moment, this could also develop into something much more sinister and much more bearish. So we're going to need to keep our minds very open to the ideas of various different possibilities of things that can occur when it comes to what is actually developing here for BTC. There's lots of hopium in the retail space as well. The idea that money is going to be rolling out of Bitcoin and going into altcoins, and I think there's going to be pockets of that, but I don't think there's going to be an alt season. We're not seeing the institutional level funds really rolling into anything right now, so it's really difficult to think that money is going to be flowing into these altcoins that are going to drive them up into these kind of alt seasons. A lot of people are also saying that the bull run's now over, right? And a bull run, in my opinion, isn't 100% gains on Bitcoin. So there's lots of things that people are now saying that just make very little logical sense. And if we were to follow the data, actually the data suggests otherwise. So I still think this is all a bear market rally, and we potentially here are on a bit of a turn to the downside. Alternatively, right, and this is the bullish sentiment, alternatively, we have now just come down and completed our correction, and that means we get another run to the upside, right? That's fantastic. A relief rally regardless is going to occur here, where the only question is, are we going to go up higher than the $31,000 that we'd hit? So from a smart money concepts, what's going on? Well, we obviously saw that we had topped out up there, and we can see right now that we've kind of corrected down right into this. So we know that everything is moving quite nicely from an Elliott-Wave theory point of view, and our smart money concepts is also kind of interesting to see. So on this hourly chart, we can see that we are in a bearish situation at the moment, but we haven't had a break of structure just yet, which is really interesting to me because we should have done, in my opinion, when we lost this low here, by moving up, coming back down, we should have had a break of structure down here, but it hasn't been plotted here, which I find quite interesting. So it'd be interesting to see how this develops next. Okay, are we going to start to move up above this key area here and actually then start creating another change of characterization to bullish from this bearish situation? Like I said, we had this move to the downside kind of plotted out. At the moment, we do see that we had our strong high and our weak low, so everything is still indicating that we have a little bit more room to the downside. We do have a 50-200 EMA cross. Again, short-term price movement going lower than the long-term price movement. We're below equilibrium, so things are looking pretty bearish here when it comes to our smart money concepts. We have a minor change of character to bearish here. We have a break of structure confirming our bearish state of play. Again, those things are not too unusual. So for the most part, smart money concepts is saying, yeah, we probably have a little bit more room to the downside. We can also see that we started filling out those fair value gaps. Okay, the fair value gaps that were left behind over here, for example, let me just draw this on, find it right here. We just filled out. Okay, so we know that the fair value gaps that have been stacking up are starting to get targeted out. We can see one down here as well. Happens to coincide with that low $28,000 range. Is that the next one to get filled out? It's going to be interesting to kind of see how that one plays out, but I would have thought that the buy orders in this particular range are likely to get chewed through, at least temporarily. But we do hit this area of consolidation where I expect reversal of some sort to occur. Okay, so we're not looking bearish on this smaller time frame for a long period in my mind. We do have to just move down a little ways before maybe continuing this. Like I said, everything from an Elliott wave theory point of view would say that there'll be a fourth wave movement to the upside if we do hit that low of the $28,170 level. Okay, it basically would mean that would have to be some kind of relief rally of sorts here before maybe continuing down again before having a larger relief rally again at a later date. Okay, so interestingly, I think smart money concepts is kind of aligned here to what Elliott wave theory is telling us, and essentially that is that there is slightly further to the downside to be had, but once we kind of hit this fair value gap at that low $28,000 level, we are likely to see some kind of bounce activity. I do think that our equilibrium could be our area of resistance. We can also see that there's some internal order blocks right in here, these red ones, and there's a lot of them actually stacking up quite a bit here. There is also a fair value gap that was left behind up at $30,000, so a retest of that area. I'm not going to rule it out. I think it's definitely possible. The other thing that we should consider here is it's possible that we start to set up a very, very big diagonal structure to the downside, and if that is the case, then we're going to see some extreme volatility while simultaneously seeing ourselves set up with lower highs and lower lows. Again, they are actually bullish, not bearish. So we want to kind of keep an eye on this idea that if we do continue to kind of go into lower highs and lower lows, then we could actually see this as a diagonal structure that gets a bit of a break to the upside, although very brief in my opinion, before we then continue a very big downturn in the market, which according to the macro time frame of the weekly and the monthly could be something that we would be interested to see happen and get those levels and those time frames all corrected down as well. So yeah, I think we're going to see some volatility here on BTC, and I do think it's going to be very profitable if you are looking to trade it. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be able to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Don't forget to join us down in Discord, and if you're looking for more from the crypto space, why not check out the Patreon services or the YouTube memberships in the links in the description below. Until the next one though guys, have a fantastic day. We are not financial advisors, and none of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.